Hi, I'm Irena Swanson, and today I want to show you how to make chimney sweep blocks very fast and accurately using tube piecing. Each block consists of 28 pieces, so with traditional methods it takes 27 seams to bring 28 pieces down into one block, but we will make them much faster. I will show you how to make 34 or 36 10-inch finish size blocks with fewer than 4 seams per block. That is very fast. Why 34 versus 36? Well, it depends on widths of your fabrics. You can make these blocks in any sizes, but tube piecing is involved, so there will be tubes. Here's one such tube. It's the same on the other side, and you can already start to see blocks forming. This bottom one has a part missing that's still there. But a basic tube piecing unit is like this. You will get 17 or 18 of these depending on your widths of fabric, and they build the tubes like this. Okay. Now I will say, well, cornerstones are missing, but that's okay. When I make another one of these basic units and I rotate it quarter of a circle and then I put it down here, then it completes the cornerstone. So we will be building these units. Now, this unit consists of 5 tubes. The 2 outer ones, I call them connector tubes, type C, they are identical. Then next to them are type B, they're also identical. And then in the center is type A. Now, the progression in these is explained by the following chart. So in type A, you need to have whatever your unit is. So this is a 1 by 1, whatever your unit is, whatever you choose. If you want finish size L inches, then multiply L by square root of 2 and divide by 8. That will give you what your unit length is. Okay. Anyway, in the center, you need 2 units of dark, 3 units of light, 2 units of dark. So 2 dark, 3 units of inner light, 2 units of dark, and then I put 2 units of outer light. And then in B units, that's this one here, you have 2 units of dark, 1 unit of light, 2 units of dark, and 4 units of outer light. And then in unit C, you have 1 unit of dark, 2.5 units of outer light, 3 units of dark, and 2.5 units of outer light. Okay. Now, so here we have C, B, A, B, C. We need twice as many units of type C and B than of type A. All right. So these are just the basic progressions. However, if we just sew one of these basic progressions, that will make tubes very tight. So in each one of these, I actually do twice the progression. In this one here, the tubes are this way, I do 3 times the progression in 3 different colors. But for all of these, I do twice the progression. So this here is a tube, twice this progression. This is also a tube, twice the progression, also tube, twice the progression. So I sew the strips together twice in the progressions. Then I press all the seams. It doesn't matter which way because there's no seam matching, but do press all the seams. Then you trim the top accurately perpendicular to the seams, and when you do that, you sew the 2 outer edges together accurately, and when you do that, you get a tube. Here I already turned the tube inside out, and this is a tube of this type. No, it's of this middle type. And here I'm presenting in a different way. It doesn't matter in what order you sew the progression because on the tube it all comes out to the same way. Alright, So the progressions are clear. Each progression is made twice into the tube, and then we have one of these tubes, two of these, two of these. So we end up with 5 primary wide tubes. Okay. So here is one such wide tube, and then you have to cut the wide tube into narrow tubes of 1 unit. By the way, of course, 1 unit plus double seam allowance here. So you cut it apart into each one of those 5 wide tubes. You cut into primary narrow tubes of 1 unit plus double seam allowance. And in our case, you'll get either 17 or 18 of these strips. Okay. And then there will be some waste at the end. That's not bad for waste. And in another one, that's all the waste I had. Pretty cool. Right. So once you have all the tubes from all the 5 different wide tubes cut out, then it starts to make the basic units. Okay. So here they're laid out, and here they're already sewn as they're sewn here. There's no seam matching, which is good, except that it is bad because, it's hard to align these properly. Maybe by accident this one gets shifted up too much and this one gets shifted up even more, and now I get something that doesn't look like a very good chimney. So you do have to make some alignments. So one way of achieving alignment is before you sew these narrow tubes together, do some marking. Maybe in the margins and all of these tubes, mark the centers. Or what I do in tubes of type C and type A, I measure up 1 unit up and mark in the margins, and also 1 unit down and mark in the margins. You probably can't see, there are marks here, and marks there. How do I accomplish this marking? Well, after I cut out the narrow tubes, as I did here, I line them up, and I have to make sure that they're not scattered like that, so scoot down. I can make sure with the ruler that they're all lined up correctly. And then, once they're lined up correctly, maybe tweak a little bit, this one is too far up. Once they're lined up correctly, okay, I'm not doing it properly right now, then I mark in the margins with a pencil 1 unit down, and then up here I also measure 1 unit up and mark in all the margins. Okay. So after all of the basic units are sewn together, here is 1 basic unit, here is our 2 units already sewn together. I now want to show you how I deal with tubes. Now on this one here, rather than just mark, I put pins in so you can see better, and I'll show you how I put these together. Okay? So I want to sew this tube onto it. So the matching goes, I only have to be rough at this point, something like that. I flip this top tube, the smaller tube usually, I flip it over, and then I reach with my hands inside this tube on top. I roll it sideways and pick up the folds of the tube underneath, and then I grab everything, pull inside out, and so the 2 tubes are lined up correctly at the edges. I may want to pull this down so there's no other wrinkling happening. And now I lift this up, and now I match precisely. The folds, the seams here get matched to the pins, or at least they straddle the pins symmetrically. And once that's aligned, I pin and pin. Then I turn around, find the other place, I match the pins or straddle them, then pin and pin. All right, that's it. I find that this is enough pinning, and the circumference of the tubes is wide enough by design. That's why we did do 2 progressions rather than only 1. And now we can do the sewing. Once you sew all of these together, you get, well, here there are 3 basic units here. Over here I made 6 units. With this construction you will actually get 17 or 18 units, so there are only 6 of them. You can either handle them all at the same time, construct them into one very long tube, or you split them up into smaller parts. Okay. Now for the demo part, I want all of these things to fit on my, so easy to present, so I'm just taking 3 basic units. And here you may not be able to see, but I did some marking. So there, I haven't done any pressing, and I really try to avoid press on tubes. But there is plenty of generous room between my blocks, so all I have to really do is mark enough and generously away from all my blocks. I mark with a pencil, and then I cut 1 layer of the tube only to get a cut around the blocks across. Now here I did zig, zag, zig, and another zig. I'll talk about this a little bit more later. So once I do the same cut, all right, so it is zig, zag, zig, zig. When I do that cut, then it's a 1 piece, and I can go and iron it. I first iron from the back, all in one direction, and then I press from the top as well. All right. So the cuts were here and there, and you can see that 2 of the blocks can already be cut out, but not all the blocks are complete yet, so we'll still have to sew this edge to the other edge. But I don't want to be making a tube over here, so instead of the tube, I do the cut first. So I already cut out this 1 block. This other block that I could cut out, I didn't. I just cut accurately around this press thing. And now all I have to do, since I separated, I did enough cuts so that I now have left and right. Now I move one side to the other, and I sew them together. Again, there are marks still here. I match these marks there, press them together, and now all of the blocks will be complete. All right. So now let's go back to that zigzag, zigzag, zig, or zigzag, zig, zig. If I instead of, so here you see I did zig, zig. If instead I did zigzag, I would have ended up with a cut piece like that, and so I would have to match down there, and this poor thing would have its extra part way down there, so I would need to do 1 extra seam, and we just don't do that. In any case, we have zigzag, zig, zig. If you have an even number of tubes, like 6, even number of basic units, then you do zigzag, 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 and everything works just fine. But for an odd number of basic units, you need to do zigzag, zig, zig. All right, well, that's all there is to it. For each, take all of your basic chimney sweep units, sew them together in sufficient widths, do enough cutting across the tube to get a flat piece, then you do the ironing, cut out a few things down the middle, and then with 1 more seam from here to there, and 1 more pressing job, then you cut out the rest of the blocks, and you get all of these beauties. Now, let's go back and talk about this multicolored version. If you have 2 progressions in multicolored version, it's not a big deal. But with 3 colors, and varying the chimney blocks, there it's a little bit different. So the connector tubes type C, there are actually two types of them. They all have the same color progression, brown to blue, but in this type C1, wide brown is followed by narrow brown, and in type C2, wide brown is followed by narrow blue. So here I combined C1, C2, and here I did C2, C1. If I do these C1, C2s, this one here, that's the same as what is up here, and we get the slants down this way. If instead I sew together this other type, then we get a different slant. I should present it this way. Okay? So this is a different slant from over there. Okay. But it doesn't matter which way you do it, because when you're cutting out the blocks, both methods will give you the same type of blocks. But I decided that I had plenty of chimney sweep blocks from all of this, so instead of cutting out the blocks, I just made one perpendicular cut down the middle, and I got this beautiful top. So, but I still had quite a few of those basic units left, and in those other basic units, on one half of the, or on three of the basic chimney sweep units, I sewed C1 types on both sides, and on the other two I sewed C2 types. And now I didn't get the slants, I got a little zigzag, and that created this baby quilt. So in these two quilt tops, plus a few extra basic units, were sewn together with fewer than 150 seams, and we're done with these beautiful quilts. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this. Please visit www.tubepiecing.com.